Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you through the water section for AQA A-Level Biology, which is part of the Biological Molecules unit. Also, I'll be going through a couple of exam style questions and their mark schemes at the end of the video, and I'll be putting in the comment section timestamps so you can skip to the sections that you want to revise from. So let's get started. So this is a water molecule, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Now, as you can see, the hydrogen atoms have a slightly positive charge and the oxygen has a slightly negative charge because it has 2 lone pairs of electrons. This means that the different ends of the molecules have slightly different charges, as you can see. This is what we call a polar molecule. However, as there are 2 oppositely charged ends, we call water a dipolar molecule. It's crucial that you remember this word, dipolar, as it often requires you to write this in the exam. It often doesn't accept just the word polar. You need to write dipolar. So the next thing is the properties of water. The first thing is that it is an important metabolite. As we have seen in previous videos, it is involved in hydrolysis reactions and condensation reactions to form things such as starch and cellulose, and also in the hydrolysis of ATP to produce ADP and inorganic phosphate, which is important in making other molecules more reactive. The next thing is that it is an important solvent in which metabolic reactions occur. Now, it is a solvent because of its dipolar nature, as we mentioned previously. Also, it has a relatively high heat capacity. This is the energy required to raise the temperature of the water by 1 degree Celsius. This means that it acts as a buffer for temperature, which is important in temperature control in organisms. Also, it has a relatively large latent heat of vaporization. Now, latent heat of vaporization is the energy required to vaporize water or to turn it from a liquid into a gas. This has implications for organisms in their temperature control as well, as it has a cooling effect on organisms, which is essential in their survival. And also there is a strong cohesion between water molecules, which we will go into more detail next. So as you can see, we have said that the oxygen has a slightly negative charge and the hydrogen has a slightly positive charge due to a property called electronegativity, which you don't really need to know about in biology, but you do if you do chemistry. This means that water molecules can form hydrogen bonds between each other. So hydrogen can form hydrogen bonds with an oxygen on another water molecule. So these lines here represent hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is extremely important as it allows water molecules to kind of attach to each other, which is called cohesion. This is important as it provides surface tension, which means that a certain force is required to break the surface of water, having implications for certain organisms and their survival. Also, it is essential in forming water columns, a continuous water column, in the process of transpiration, which you will look at in the mass transport section. So that's it for the content. You don't actually need to know a lot about water. So now we can get on to exam questions. I'll just get my highlighter. So here's the first question. Scientists investigated the effect of relative humidity, so we can highlight that, on the activity of wood lice. They set up a petri dish as shown in figure 1. In the bottom half they put a substance which absorbs water. Different concentrations of this substance produce different humidities in the air above the mesh. The scientists placed 10 wood lice in the top half of the dish, replaced the lid and left the apparatus for 15 minutes in the laboratory, recorded the number of wood lice not moving during the next 30 seconds, repeated the experiment to obtain data for 100 wood lice, and then repeated the experiment at different humidities. This is key here, as this is what they are investigating. The results are shown in Figure 2, which is this graph here. On the x-axis we have relative humidity, and on the x-axis, not the x-axis or y-axis, we have the number of wood lice not moving. I'll just underline that so you can make it clear. Not moving. Now the question says here, the movement of wood lice in low relative humidity is an advantage to their survival. Explain how. So, as this is an explain question, you don't just put what is happening, you need to explain why it is an advantage to their survival. So, as the question asks us about low relative humidity, we can look at this kind of area of the graph, which is representing low relative humidity. And as you can see, from looking at the y-axis, there is a low amount of wood lice not moving, which means that there is a high amount of wood lice that are moving. So we can write this, more wood lice are moving at low humidity. And I've put here, so more movement results in an increased chance of leaving dry excrements and therefore reducing water loss. So we can look at the mark scheme. Low humidity results in more wood lice moving, which we wrote here. So increased movement, increased chance of leaving dry, such unfavourable environment, so reduce the water loss, or you can write reduce evaporation. It doesn't matter what you put, you still get the marks. And this is a 2-mark question as well. So this is the next question, which has a large chunk of text. Now you need to get used to these kinds of questions as they come up a lot in the exam. So let's read it together. Straw consists of 3 main organic substances: cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin. Cellulose molecules form chains which pack together into fibres. Hemicellulose is a small molecule formed mainly from 5-carbon or pentose sugar monomers. It acts as a cement holding cellulose fibres together. Like cellulose, lignin is a polymer, but it is not a carbohydrate. It covers the cellulose in the cell wall and supplies additional strength. In addition to these 3 substances, there are small amounts of other biologically important polymers present. The other main component of straw is water. Water content is variable, but may be determined by heating a known mass of straw at between 80 and 90 degrees until it reaches a constant mass. The loss in mass is the water content. Since straw is plentiful, it is possible that it could be used for the production of a range of organic substances. The first step is the conversion of cellulose to glucose. It has been suggested that an enzyme could be used for this process. There is difficulty here, however. The lignin, which covers the cellulose, protects the cellulose from enzyme attack. So this question actually has a lot of parts to it, but we are only going to do the parts that are relevant to water. So here are the 2 parts of the question that we are answering. Explain why the following steps were necessary in finding the water content of straw. Here's the first part, heating the straw until it reaches constant mass, line 9. Now, if we go back to the text, it says the loss in mass is the water content. So we can put to make sure that all the water had been lost. As if the mass is changing, it shows that there is still water present. So the next part here, not heating the straw above 90 degrees, line 9. So if we go back again, water content is variable but may be determined by heating a known mass of straw between 80 and 90 degrees. So water can be lost between these temperatures. So we can write only water is given off below 90 degrees, as we've seen from the text. So above 90 degrees, other substances can be broken down, which would obscure your results. So if we look at the mark scheme, The first part, to make sure all the water has been lost. No nonsense, 1 mark. In the second part, only water given off between 90 degrees, which will be written. So above 90 degrees, other substances in the straw are burnt or oxidised or broken down and lost as gas / produce loss in mass, which we wrote as well. It doesn't matter which one of these you put, you still get the marks. So I think, yeah, that is all I want to say. Thanks for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next video.